Welcome, foolish mortals, to the WDW Fan Zone show. Tonight, we're going to get a little spooktacular with our thoughts on, like what if Disney started a cemetery business on property? Would you want to be buried there? Where would you like to be buried there? And where would your spirits like to be on property? And we're going to get into it right now. Just want to mention there is no news tonight. Jess is out of town. As you can see, the ridiculous thing on Darlene's head. Jess is in Buffalo. She's also from Buffalo, so she is there watching the Bills hopefully lose tonight. I'm a Jet fan. For those who don't remember, this is the year of the Jets. So sorry, Darlene, but it's like I'm tempted to just like knock Darlene off the show for wearing that ridiculous thing. But I'll let it go for now.
This is the
especially because you probably have Buffalo Bills fans that listen to the show.
There is one.
You and Jess are the only Buffalo Bills fans I know. And don't start mentioning who else you know that are Buffalo Bills fans. We don't have all night. Anyway, let's get into the show, why we're here. So it's almost Halloween. And we figured we'd do something a little different. Yes, it's morbid, but we figured we'd do something a little different. John had actually mentioned something along these lines maybe a month or so ago, and it was in passing on our post show. And I said, wow, that's a great idea. So let's see if anybody will view the show on YouTube. We need to give us a thumbs up and click that like, that subscribe box. We need your help there too, please. It'll give us more visibility on YouTube and even on Apple Podcasts for people to find us, listen to us, or watch us. All right. So let's start off with the premise that Disney's going to build a cemetery on property. Now, we know Disney's in the for-profit business. I think it would do tremendously well, depending on the price point. But we're not going to get into those details. But where on property do you think they could put a cemetery that would be befitting of your eternal resting place?
Well, to begin with, Disney's built on swampland. I think it's going to be like Louisiana. Everything's got to be above ground.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So where are we putting the crypts, basically?
It could be.
Well, so Kurt, do you think that people would go out of their way to go down and let's say they had it, set up like in New Orleans and they've got crypts above the ground. Do you think people would go out of their way to go, repeatedly to visit their loved ones on property as well as spend time there on property?
You're talking to someone that hasn't missed a trip since '96. Hey, let's go over and say hi to Grandma Jean, okay?
Yeah.
Who's right over there? Hi, Grandma. Okay.
You know how what Disney could also do? You know how Magic Kingdom really is on the second floor? There's really a floor below. They could build a floor so you could be buried actually on the second floor.
Like a catacombs.
Yeah. So they've got a number of options there.
So let's go tour the catacombs so we can go and see Grandma.
But where would a good place be? They've got a lot of unoccupied land or unbuilt land.
Well, that's what I'm trying to think of, like property-wise. I don't think there's really much room by Magic Kingdom. That's where I would like it to be.
Nope. No room by Magic Kingdom.
They're not going to put you in the
Magic
boneyard.
Kingdom.
But that's the boneyard. They're not going to literally put you in a literal boneyard.
No. Behind Magic Kingdom, they've got plans for that. Whether that comes to fruition anytime soon or not, it's another story. But it's not going to be there. Animal Kingdom, I don't think they want to give up any of the space that they may have left to expand the park in the future. Hollywood Studios.
Australian dogs will dig up your bones.
Yeah. Hollywood Studios is pretty much at capacity. There's a little room to expand there, not much. And Epcot, yes, while there is room, if they decide to expand a little bit, there goes that room. So I think it would have to be someplace away from there, and it's not going to be at Disney Springs. Yeah, let's go shopping, and while we're here, let's go visit Grandma.
Yeah. You need someone with a lot of square footage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So it's got to be that balance between being ecologically friendly, but having space to expand over time. And they do have a lot of space.
Mhm.
I think they also have to watch out for the water. So they had to be very careful with canals and not disrupt canals that flow the water through the property. There's certainly a lot of space. I'm sorry. I think there's a lot of space to the west of World Drive between the Magic Kingdom and then down to past Epcot and the Hollywood Studios. There's a lot of space there. I don't know what's available. You also want to have the ability, you also need to have access. So you'd have to have road access to get there and make it convenient for people to go visit their loved ones.
Right now, there's somebody listening to the show going, is that really what they're talking about tonight? I think they would have to take into consideration if they decided to expand, not just with another park or the current existing parks, but resorts, whether they be DVC or otherwise. That's something else they'd have to take into consideration. Now, what if it were not far from Disney World property, but someplace else where you have maybe a 5 or 10-minute drive to get onto property? There is a lot of property in that area that I know a lot of developers are developing with houses, but
let's be realistic. Go ahead.
So
go ahead.
I know off of 192, there's a back road. And
back roads there,
by one of the stores, there's a sign gated off that says Disney property.
Mm-hmm. There is, they own a lot of property off.
But that's not far.
Right.
It's, so I mean, that might be a good place to do something like that.
Yeah.
There is another option here. It's
cremation,
frowned upon by Disney. Grabbing the bag and hey, Grandma, you're in the lake.
we will get to that too. I know a lot of people have
not an attraction. Stay out of the attraction.
I know a lot of people have tried that in the past. Some have succeeded in burying their loved ones' ashes somewhere in Bay Lake or otherwise. We are not recommending that.
No.
But if you do try it, best of luck.
How are they going to catch you if you got it in your pocket? You just got to go.
Well, they can't make any money off of that. They can make money. They can make money off of renting space to you. And one of the other things that I was thinking about is, do you think that people would consider having funerals, wakes, celebration of life, those kinds of events where you can get family and friends to remember your loved one, and then at the same time, they stay and they do other things to lighten their spirit.
Something like that you could not do anywhere near the parks because too many people will complain that you ruined my day because you were crying.
I hate to say Kurt's right on that, but I think he is right. I think some people won't care, but I think all it takes is a few, and I think you'll get a few people that will.
Well, right. So I agree that they have to find a way to separate it, but I don't think a family is going to go down to Disney World to remember their loved one and, to do it in such a way where they're grieving. So I think,
it'd be a celebration of life rather than
right. So it's not going to be everybody that's going to want to do it. Certainly.
Correct. And everybody's going to have the money that they probably would charge.
Absolutely.
Right.
But Disney pulls people down and weddings are certainly a much more joyous. But again, thinking about remembering that person, I think there's a subset of people that would want to do that, and they would want to go to Disney World because they would have good memories of being there, and they certainly could get choked up there. but I think
Yeah.
they'd be going there because they want to lift their spirits.
Well, you know what, John? I'm glad you brought that up because there's something that I did think of that I think Disney could do that would appease everyone. If they built a non-denominational chapel
Oh, absolutely.
somewhere on property but away from the parks, where
Mhm.
people would have some privacy and guests wouldn't necessarily see them going in or out,
Yeah.
where they could have a celebration of life for their loved ones, and you know what, maybe have a section somewhere on that property where they could have plaques in memory of.
Mhm.
You know, of course, they could charge extra for the plaques depending on how
Yeah.
elaborate somebody wants to make it and keep it certain sizes, but have a wall of, I don't want to say wall of death, but
Oh God.
a memorial.
Look at the walls in Epcot that we have with
Yeah,
all
you know,
the, you
and they
know.
could be shaped in Mickey ears.
Well,
They've already got the wedding pavilion.
Mhm.
All they need to do is add an air cannon out the back. Just
I would keep it.
pop grandma in there. Kaboom! Out in the middle of the lake. Big bucks. Come on. Who wouldn't pay $1,000 to watch grandma go flying into the middle of the lake? Forever being able to watch the fireworks. Come on. It's right there ready to go.
well, there's something you could do though, and that is have a fireworks display to remember an individual. And
Mhm.
you know, whether it's one of your, I don't know that you'd want to use one of the bigger ones, but if you've got this sectioned off area, I love the idea of the non-denominational chapel to kind of pull it together. But again, if the people are there, if the reason they're there is to commemorate and remember their loved one, there may be a way to do fireworks for a send-off for someone, for the
they
people
add
that
their
would come
ashes
to
to
do
it.
this.
Johnny Depp did that with, I forgot who it was, and he had the ashes that they added to the fireworks, if I remember correctly. It did cost him a few $1 million, but hey,
Hey, you know, that's pocket change to him.
hey.
I like Darlene's idea. You talked about Epcot. So you may have to inter people in a mausoleum away from the parks. But if you think about World Showcase and all the different countries represented, you could maybe have some areas with markers in a certain section, maybe off a path somewhere, for people to be memorialized in the park as well.
Oh, there you go. I like that idea. Yeah.
Technically, they already did have this. Remember all the bricks that were all around?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, in memory of. That's right.
Yep. Yep.
Several of them.
That's right. And then they took them away.
They only guaranteed them for 10 years.
Yeah. But right. So it would be a new way to use those. And they may have to have some of the same stipulations that, you know, they're not going to be there forever.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be another opportunity for somebody to memorialize their loved one.
And I think there's more and I think it's more likely that Disney would do something like this than ever build a cemetery. I think there's a chance that maybe when hell freezes over, you'll see a cemetery on Disney property or nearby. But I do think they could do a non-denominational.
Yeah, so more the event and memorialization than the internment.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's more likely that they would get a larger number of people to do that than anything else.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then they don't have to disrupt their property.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's going to be a little more tasteful for the guests who don't want to, you know, be disturbed by all of that.
And they could have open hours for people who have a memorial, you know, like a plaque there for their loved ones to come and visit when they choose.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of like exhausted this, and I don't want to get deeper into the, you know, shovel ourselves into the ground more than we have. So I'd like to move on to the next phase of the show tonight, and that would be if you could pick a place to have your eternal resting place at Disney, where would it be? And then we'll get into the spiritual part of that after. So if you could choose a place where you could be there for eternity, and Darlene, I'm having a tough. I'm sorry, but those Buffalo Bills nachos were so ridiculous.
They were a gift.
Yeah, well,
just take a piece of paper and put it right over her square.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah,
you know what, Darlene?
You gotta post it.
I would give it back.
Nope.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't mean to make fun of you because you're a Buffalo Bills fan, but
my friend Karen wants the same here.
Hey, don't worry about it. Tampa Bay just tied up the game, so we're all good.
So of course you know where I wouldn't mind having being. I could handle being, and it's a small world, so
you could handle hearing that for eternity, even until death do you part.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize if your ashes are put in the water and it's a small world, you're going to be vacuumed up and thrown in the garbage can. Yep. I'm not exaggerating. They talk about it with the Haunted Mansion. They talk about it with Pirates of the Caribbean, because that's where people like to go all the time. Their vacuum system is too strong. You're gone.
Well, I wouldn't want to be in the lake with all the amoebas.
Or the alligators.
And the alligators aren't going to eat you.
At least I'd be there for a little while.
Oh boy, this show's going downhill fast.
Hey, you guys are the ones who came up with it. So,
see, and I was thinking a great place to be would be right on the shores at Wilderness Lodge.
Oh,
right there by the cabins. So, because Walt has always said, the parks are always going to change. So who knows? Someday, maybe something happens that's a small world and it goes away. Doubtful, but you never know. The shoreline's always going to be there.
Well, I can give you 3 places that I'd like to be, but I'll wait till John goes because he hasn't gone.
I'm not going to give the Haunted Mansion. Certainly the graveyard and the Haunted Mansion is a very obvious one, and it'd be even more preferable if you could actually have a tombstone there, like Mr. Toad. But I think something that I'm going to flip it the other way around and say somewhere near Cinderella Castle.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, right in the heart. It's people think about it, and it gives you, I think, a happier feeling. So, Haunted Mansion is, I don't think it's fun, but it's not, still creepy.
It's not your final resting place.
Well, yeah, they don't rest there. They're always stirring.
Yep, that's true. In Disneyland, when you're on Main Street in Disneyland and not Magic, in Disneyland, you feel Walt's presence. And while Magic Kingdom and Disney World is not the same as Disneyland, you can still feel Walt's presence to some extent. And that would be one of my choices if I could have an eternal resting place. The other 2 are not at Walt Disney World or Disneyland. One would be Yankee Stadium. The other would be Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks and Rangers play. But at Disney World, I would want to be on Main Street somewhere where I'm either facing the castle or facing the train station.
Right.
How about in like one of the gardens? Just mix it in with the dirt.
Well, see, and that's why I always said, Seven Seas Lagoon would be nice. Because then you're eternally right there with the fireworks going off over the castle.
Mm-hmm.
There's that little island that's right there out in front of the Polynesian.
Now, would you want your body to be thrown in there and eaten by the alligators, or?
Oh no! I'm getting to be cremated. I'm ashes already.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, me too.
My religion doesn't allow me to be cremated, nor would I ever want to be cremated.
You're going to be fodder for the gators. Will gnaw on your bones.
Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be buried in water. I just wouldn't. I'd rather just stick me 10 feet in the ground. Or it's 6 feet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's 6 feet under.
See,
Yeah.
the bugs. I have a problem with the bugs.
You'll be dead. You won't care. If you can wear that Buffalo Bill hat, I'm surprised you're not attracting bugs with that.
Stuart, hey, think of it this way, though. You said
Cockroaches.
10 feet. It's swampland. Remember, if you put it 6
That's
feet down,
true.
it'll end up 10 feet eventually anyway. So don't
That's
worry
true.
about
Well, somehow
I'll let you know what it looks like. They just bought some more land out here by our cemetery down the road, and they're marking it off for all
well,
the plots.
who is they?
The
it. A
city,
cemetery.
the cemetery.
No,
The city. So the city.
no, that's by a church.
Well,
so your city.
not necessarily.
Your city bought more property where you are. Okay, I don't want people to be confused and think it's Disney that bought more property.
No.
Yeah, for a
No.
graveyard.
So, but they're marking. They've been like surveying and marking. It was the plot right next to the cemetery that's there that they're expanding.
It's near your house.
It's probably about 10 minutes away. Yeah, there's or 15.
Could it be a prison?
No.
Should it be a prison?
No.
Yeah, nobody wants.
But it's kind of reminiscent of pictures I've seen of my friend who came from Poland. She showed me what their cemeteries look like, and like the stone is on top of the ground.
Yep, that's how it is in Israel
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Stone's on top of the ground because you face that way. You face God. You're closer to God.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we've all given where we would. Have we all given where we'd like to be? Our final resting place would be at Disney, or anybody want to give anything else about that before we move on? And we know Kurt's getting cremated, so it doesn't matter.
Toss me out. Hey, just toss me on the way to the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
A handful here, handful there.
Oh, I thought you were getting launched.
Well, hey, get an air cannon and
I
go out
think,
in
I think his wife is going to launch him after the show.
You
Hey,
go up on
you know
the
what
characters in flight and be sprinkled down below.
Yeah.
No, I'm afraid of heights. I don't want that to happen.
You know where Lottie is not here tonight. She is our evil sandwich queen. And Kurt, where I know you're going to give the correct answer. Where should Lottie have her final resting place on property?
There is a little planting area right there at Earl of Sandwich.
That's correct.
So we're talking about digging with the potting soil. Sprinkle a little bit of Lottie there.
Yep.
She'll forever be next to her favorite food restaurant.
Well, and save a little bit for Via Napoli too.
Yes, of
that's
course.
right.
Of
That's
course.
Pizza Rizzo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pizza Fari. I'm sorry, Pizza
You guys are
Fari is
making me
not
lose-
pizza.
Yeah, you're making me lose my appetite there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
All right. Anyway, so if your spirit could come back, not to haunt people on property, but to enjoy the afterlife on property, where would you like that to be? And you can have more than one choice here too, because we know spirits like to move around. They don't want to.
I
They want
actually
to rest peacefully.
I actually have a lot of places.
mhm.
So and the kinds of places that I think of are places you can't normally get to yourself. So, and this is just one example. So, for instance, climbing around on the Tree of Life to see all the carvings, the carvings that you can't get close to normally, or you can't see from a good angle. So that's just one example of one of the places. And we talk about Disney World. You always like to go back. Why do we keep going back? Things are always changing, and you don't get a chance to see everything. So if you're there for eternity, you want to have some variety. But that's one of the things that I thought of.
Well, how about going to the top of Mount Everest for Expedition Everest? And you could say, I made it to the top of Mount Everest.
Or like Ric Flair,
Right?
where Ty Wilson used to say he's been to the top of Space Mountain.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. How about River Country, John? Is that on your list?
River Country.
It's gone.
I know it's gone. Now it's just like I don't want to call swampland. Now it's just like wasteland.
It's just dirt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's dirt and debris.
I had also visiting some of the attractions in places you don't normally get to go. So, for instance, in the American Adventure, being on stage as all the different scenes come up and down, and get to sit in, with the scenes themselves, or being in the ballroom in the Magic Kingdom, and every once in a while moving the plates around on the table because the Imagineers hate that.
You could sit in the Haunted Mansion and be a spirit visible in the Haunted Mansion, and no one would know.
That's true.
You could just sit there and they all be like, "Oh, there's a new one."
Could be you.
You
That's
could,
right.
You could manifest yourself in a way that looks consistent with the other ghosts that are there, and people wouldn't necessarily be scared, but you'd be actually able to be part of the attraction that way.
And think about it, when your family comes to see you at the end, when you're looking in the mirror and the ghost is doing something, it could be you.
It could be you.
Hi. Glad to see you guys. Thanks for coming and visiting me. I'll see you next year.
Well, we know where Darlene would be. And It's a Small World, scaring the bejesus out of all the little kids.
No, actually, I think I would want to be on the bridge between the Contemporary and Bay Lake, so I could watch the fireworks all the time.
I thought you were going to jump off of it.
I actually had that for a couple of different places, to be some places where you can view the fireworks, whether it's on the top of the California Grill or on the bridge there. Yep.
I do like that view up there, because then you could see the monorail and the bus station. It's all really pretty at night when it's all lit up.
Kurt, have you?
I'd just sit on the top of the Main Street Railroad station. Then.
Oh,
there
yeah.
You go. Yeah.
So just hang up there.
You don't have to find a bench.
No. So I wouldn't mind just being in Magic Kingdom, where I can go from attraction to attraction.
Right.
That's very true.
Yeah.
You notice we're all talking about the Magic Kingdom, where we're going to be hanging out.
I did have one other thought, that, unfortunately, in the afterlife, your spirit's not going to be able to enjoy the food there. But if you could, it would be Epcot and World Showcase. And I would just go from restaurant to restaurant.
Kiosk to kiosk.
or kiosk to kiosk, yeah.
Now, if we're all talking about being there, are we thinking about, there are some attractions that supposedly are already haunted. I mean, George is over there in Pirates of the Caribbean. That's why they all say, "Good morning, George," so that it doesn't break down. So there's a whole history story behind there. So now, if you go to visit the Pirates of the Caribbean, are you all of a sudden going to be having the guy go and get out of my attraction?
Or are you going to have competition?
That's right, you could.
Right.
and the train, you got the one guy that's going to be yelling, "Get off my train!"
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah. And in the Haunted Mansion, you'll have quite a few spirits.
At $999.
Yeah, I'm Mr. 1000.
I was just dying to get in here.
I brought my death certificate.
Good golly.
The Hatbox Ghost will come after you.
Right?
True.
Or the Widow Bride.
The main you talked about Main Street. One of the things that I would like to do on Main Street is to go around and visit all the windows with all of the Disney legends that are recognized there. So you can get up close and see them, and peek in the windows where they've got recordings and voices and things like that, and get up close and see all of the details a lot more.
Yeah, that's good. But once you've seen all the details, because you're there forever, your spirit, then what? See, at least the attractions you don't get to.
Move on to another. Well, moving on.
Well, that's just one thing. Yeah, it's and I certainly hope I don't have to spend eternity in the parks, because especially with looking at the food all the time and
not being able to taste it.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys knew Nolan. Darlene, you remember Nolan?
Yes.
I do remember Nolan.
Great guy. He passed away, unfortunately, way too soon. And it's like, I know when we've ever referred to him, we know he's somewhere above Walt Disney World, looking down at everybody, or enjoying the parks. So I think it would be great to join our friends that have already moved on and be able to enjoy the parks with their spirits from time to time.
Well, so you're asking, are we going to have a meetup 50 years from now, or?
Yeah, I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to jinx anybody or give them bad luck. But speaking of bad luck, is Buffalo losing yet?
No.
They just went up 16-10.
Yeah, so anybody who's watching the show or listening to the show a couple of days from now, you already know the score. And hopefully Buffalo lost, and hopefully the Jets win this weekend.
No. But do you know how long we've been waiting for this? So let's move on.
Kurt, now, if you could pick one spot to stay in forever, where would it be? Like, you can move around within that area of property, but one section.
I just always come back to the Seven Seas Lagoon. And all around in that area, that's staring at my happy place right there at the park. So, go visit the park during the day and then come back to the Seven Seas Lagoon, and a nice little island there, cozy up with my stuffed alligator right there.
Stuffed. You better hope it's stuffed.
He'll be stuffed when I'm done with him.
Yeah. How about you, John?
Well, what do you think about inhabiting the Cinderella Castle suite?
Oh my God! And just wait for Becky to come back and have another night or two stay there.
Well, and then I could go in the evenings. I could go out and visit Kurt on the Seven Seas Lagoon.
Yeah. We'll take a boat out.
Yeah, or in the day. I'm sorry, I'd spend the evening in the castle suite, and then and then if somebody does stay there, try to haunt them subtly, and then by day go out into Seven Seas Lagoon and tour around on a boat with Kurt.
Yeah. Darlene, how about you?
I'm still thinking of that answer because I didn't have that one written down.
What do you think it would be?
Wait a minute.
A resort?
If you wrote it down, you'd have the answer?
No. Well,
he didn't write it down.
I didn't write it.
I know you didn't write it down.
So
you haven't thought about it yet. That's what happens when you're a Buffalo Bills fan. You can't think about anything.
Concentrate.
Resort.
A resort?
There's a few of those. What do you want?
Yeah. Probably the beach club.
Okay, not a bad choice.
Spend time out on the beach
exactly in the lazy river.
Yeah,
the water slide down through this. Yeah.
Now I'm going to ask you guys: can you go off property for any of this?
You said it's on property only.
Yeah.
Well, how about if it's on property in another resort outside of Disney World in the state of Florida?
You're really going to go to Universal?
No, hell no. There is the left coast. There's something above the firehouse.
Oh, you're talking about the West Coast. Oh, you're talking about Anaheim. Yeah.
No, this is Walt Disney World only.
Okay, Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
God, if I had to pick one attraction, because I would want to be in an attraction and just like have my spirit there if I couldn't like roam around outside of one attraction. I mean, food would be my first choice, but
Stuart, I'm sorry. Ellen Energy Adventure is already gone. I know that was your resting place.
Yeah, my resting place, not my place to enjoy. Although it was a good attraction at one time when I was awake during it. God, it would be between the Haunted Mansion, Jungle Cruise, and Pirates.
Hmm.
And it depends on like if you ask me today, because it's close to Halloween, I'd probably say Haunted Mansion. But next week it could be Jungle Cruise. Like when they do the Jingle Cruise, I'd love to be there.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
Well, the Kilimanjaro safaris would probably be the largest attraction. You'd have the most space to roam, so to speak.
It's the size of the Magic Kingdom.
Mm.
Yeah. I wonder if
Just
anybody
watch where you step.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if Disney would ever do something where they could make you look like a spirit and put you into an attraction or some kind of a video of an attraction, have your spirit that, you know, just do like a short little 30-second video of you going through an attraction with your spirit image.
They could do that at the end of Haunted Mansion
They
and
could.
have you become one of the hitchhiking ghosts that interacts with your own vehicle.
Yeah, that would be cool if they could do that. You know what? Maybe that'll be one of their refurbishments down the road.
The photos they do now, they make it that grayish black and white scale. So
yeah,
you look like a ghost already.
It's taking an image and making it a projection. Yeah, they're probably not too far from that now.
Yeah, you're probably right.
They're always snapping your picture, you know, when you first enter a ride, and they did that at the beginning of Spaceship Earth, where they get your face and then at the end put it on the
when it works.
Travel.
Yeah, the globe.
So I just want to get off topic for one brief second. For anybody out there who's thinking of or planning of getting the COVID shot, I read a couple articles that said if you walk for about an hour or exercise or keep moving around for about an hour and a half after your shot, it'll help. It takes you won't feel the stiffness in your arm. And I can tell you, because I got mine today, that it absolutely does work. I was on my feet after that for about an hour and a half. And I can feel like a little bit of stiffness, but it's a tiny bit compared to previous shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to throw that in there for anybody who may be considering.
A hydration pack helps too to stay hydrated.
I didn't have that, but
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to the spirits.
Well, you know, that's perfect for Lottie and Darlene because they love the spirits and
yes, they do.
Yeah, I was surprised she wasn't saying Raglan Road, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
No, I'd go for Wine Bar George.
Mm.
Jacques Lindsay's Hanger Bar.
Yeah, what bar, Darlene? What bar would you like to have your spirit hang out in? So, is it Wine Bar George, or would there be any place?
Well, I like Wine Bar George. I like Boathouse. The dock out there is really nice, and so is Jacques Lindsay's Hanger Bar. But the House of Blues for the music.
Oh, and maybe you could be memorialized by having a drink named after you.
There we go.
One of your favorite lounges, and you could be on the menu.
Yes, that'd be perfect.
Jacques Lindsay's, we could actually look inside the Ark of the Covenant and not worried about what's going to happen.
Oh, there you go. You could open your eyes, unlike
you could open
Harrison Ford and Karen Allen.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to mention about this morbid topic this magically morbid topic we've been discussing? All right. Now Halloween is coming up Tuesday next week.
Yes.
So what are we, 5 days away, roughly? 4, 5.
Does everybody have their candy for the trick-or-treaters?
Not where I live. The trick-or-treaters where I live would be over 55.
Nobody brings their grandchildren in.
Well, why would you bring them to a retirement community when you can go someplace where there are actual people that will put bags of candy out?
Because those retirement community folks might hand out full-size candy bars.
Full-size Snickers bars, yeah.
Yes.
No, those retirement folks are the ones eating the full-size candy bars.
That's right.
What do you want?
I can
Get
tell
off
you
my
the
porch.
retirement folks wait till the day after Halloween. They go to Target, they go to BJ's, Walmart, and they get everything discounted.
Everything at half
That's
price.
funny.
Yeah. No, retirement community is not a good place to bring your children for Halloween. You might get scared a little bit by some of the older folks there. You better off going where there's a lot of children. A lot of children, a lot of candy. All right. I think that is going to do it for us this week. We should have a new show next week. We'll be back next week with another topic. I promise it will be a little less morbid than this week. The show might die, just like...
Oh.
No, hopefully we'll have a good, fun topic next week. All right, until then, everybody have a safe rest of the week, a safe weekend. Happy Halloween. Be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
I finally got the perfect opportunity to use this, but when the grip doors creak and the tombstones quake, spooks come out for a swing and wake. Happy haunts materialize and begin to vocalize. Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize. Thanks for socializing with us, and maybe you'll come spend some time with us. Come back. Come back. Good night, everybody.
Have a great night and a magical day. Stay safe. Pack your sunscreen, your bug spray, and an umbrella. Happy Halloween.